In this episode of the Therapy Dogs Australia podcast, Sam sits down with the one and only Pat Stuart, a professional dog trainer, co-host of the Canine Paradigm podcast, and owner of Serious Dog Business. Pat shares his journey from the army to professional dog training, reflecting on how critical thinking and behavioural science have shaped his philosophy. Together, Sam and Pat discuss the importance of understanding each dog as an individual, staying adaptable in your methods, and cutting through the noise of short-form training advice online. Plus, Pat also walks us through his online learning platform, Serious Dog Business, and has kindly offered our community a huge $500 off the course. Find the discount code and link in the description below and in our upcoming newsletters. This episode is an insightful chat for therapy dog handlers, dog trainers, and anyone else who's passionate about dog training. Let's get into it.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Therapy Dogs Australia podcast. I'm your host, Sam King. We do not have Maxine with us today. She's unfortunately not here, but she will be back. But we do have a very special guest, the one and only Pat Stuart. You might know Pat from his conspiracy podcast, the Canine Paradigm.
Okay. Yeah, fair enough.
That's where I learn about all my conspiracies. So if you guys are into that, get over there, have a listen. There's like nearly 400 episodes.
With only a couple of references to conspiracies, but especially of late.
If you're not talking about conspiracies, are you talking about anything? So
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Pat, do you want to introduce yourself a bit so people know who you are? Everyone on our podcast has heard your name because I talk about you all the time. So
Okay. Well, hello. Thank you for having me. My name's Pat Stuart. I'm a dog trainer. I've been doing this as a job for 10 years. Prior to that, I was in the army for 12 years. And prior to that, I was a school kid. So that's kind of all I've done with my life. I work across a pretty broad spectrum of the dog space. When I got out of the army, I was just doing in-home pet behavior stuff, and very fortunately through my conspiracy podcast have, developed a name for myself where people now give me access to do really cool stuff. So I work mostly in sort of sport and working dog kind of areas. I still do the odd pet thing just because I enjoy it, and sometimes people manage to get in touch with me and I think, oh, that's interesting, and I'll go and be involved in that. But for the most part, I'm working mostly in either training the people who are the handlers of high performance dogs. And so that means, military working dog type handlers. With my, partner in crime in doing this stuff, I raise, train and sell dogs with Jazz Whiting, who they live with. She does all the work. I just take a lot of credit for it. and then I train people. That's overwhelmingly what I do is I train dog handlers and dog trainers. If someone's coming into your home in Australia to assist with a dog, there's a good chance that they have learned some of their skill set, if not from me, from the same people I did, or from someone in the same community of knowledge as me. So yeah, that's kind of what I do.
So everybody's actually already met you if they've met a dog trainer.
No, that's
because your spirit is in all of us.
That's a stretch. And what I will say, being the Therapy Dog podcast, is I've only trained 2 therapy dogs, and I vowed never to do it again after the 2. So that's been my experience with it. Because, and we've discussed this, but I will say is, they're both really good outcomes. One is Jazz, who went on to become one of my best friends and training partner. Another is a little boy who, had a lot going on and was very much improved by his dog. But I realized pretty quickly therapy dogs isn't, or assistance dogs isn't the world for me.
Yeah. Assistance dogs also isn't the world for me, which I could go on about that for ages, but it's a lot. It's a lot. But to follow on, so you actually have trained hundreds of therapy dogs because your spirit lives on through me.
My spirit through you, yes. There you go. My skills through you have gone to many, many therapy dogs, which right. I'm very happy about. Yes.
Me too. Me freaking too. But it's true what you say. And I know you and I already spoke about this last week, but I went to the Michael Ellis conference thingy, workshop, seminar. What do they call it? Seminar in Melbourne last week. And it was cool to see like everyone talking like a similar language in the dog training space, in the balanced dog training space in particular. People all talking the same language, and I could see that like I understood the things Michael Ellis was saying because I've learnt all the things that you say. So
Yeah. Well, I'm
know.
just stealing stuff he says. We're all
Yeah.
we're all just stealing from Helmut Reiser, if I'm honest. Right. So
Yes.
the Helmut is kind of, I guess it is reasonable to say that Helmut is the godfather of modern balanced dog training. Like, he is old German guy. He's actually a dentist for a real job.
I didn't know.
Yeah. He's like, takes it very seriously. Like, he's not like a part-time dentist. Like, he is very into dentistry. It's his full-time thing.
His
He's
career.
got a giant clinic. That's his actual career. But is also one of the most accomplished and most incredible dog trainers on the planet. And, you know, I've learned from a lot of people. I was very, very lucky that Army paid for me to learn from a bunch of people in the early days. And then I continued to myself. I'm an obsessive learner. So I've gone to either the classes of, or the schools of, done the online courses of all the big names, right? All of them.
Mm-hmm.
And when I saw Helmut, I realized, I was like, oh, like I've been, what is it? Citing the wrong people, or I've been giving credit to the wrong people in this regard.
Oh yeah.
This is clearly this is the original start of the information. And it was all the stuff that we're all doing, but just done exceptionally well and with a level of understanding that none of us could ever, hope to even have. But yeah, Helmut's the OG. We all go back to him. Everybody does. Everybody is going back to Helmut Reiser.
Yeah, I remember you talking about him at one of your seminars, and I had no idea who he was. And then I looked him up and I was like, oh my goodness. Plus, his name's Helmut, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, Helmut. Yeah, Helmut Reiser.
That's pretty awesome. Anyway, very good. So thanks for joining us on the podcast.
Pleasure.
Thanks. So Pat had me on his podcast a couple of times, which I was very thankful for. And I made some friends out of that. Thank you.
Cool. That's good.
So we were having a chat the other day, and one of the things that I thought would be interesting to talk about would be critical thinking skills in the land of dog handling. Because I think sometimes, a lot of the time, I can see people are learning dog training as a skill. And I think we work on probably what we call the hard skills. So the mechanics, or what you're practicing your mechanics over and over again. And a dog trainer is often just telling you, like, these are the mechanics, like, this is what you need to do, these are the mechanics. And so I think when we do that, which is good and normal, I think learning the mechanics of the sit doesn't necessarily tell you how to do a drop or something else, because the mechanics are different. And what I've noticed is that amongst our teams, but also I see it at various workshops and seminars, dog training workshops and seminars that I've been to, where people are struggling to apply this procedure, the mechanics of this task with the dog, to another task. And so the questions that people are asking of the person who's running the seminar or the dog trainer or whoever, because my teams are like this too. Like, they ask me these specific questions as well, like based off of like every single question every single step of the way of working with their dogs, they've got to ask these questions. And I was thinking, I don't know if we're generalizing this skill well as the humans. Like, we're learning these dog training skills. I'm not sure that we're generalizing what we're learning. I don't know if we're thinking, if we can think about it, guys. Like, I don't know if we're thinking about stuff and trying to think it through yourself. No, there's anything wrong with asking questions, but then because I've seen it a number of times and it pops up, I was thinking about it more, and I was like, I think it's the critical thinking side. I think it's the problem solving. I think it's a generalizing of skills. But I think all of that, what underpins all of that, is the lack of the theory that assists with our hard skills, the motor skills, mechanics.
I agree. So let me take a step back. When I first started teaching seminars, so I studied under this guy, Bart Bellin, who it's kind of impossible to say who the best dog trainer on the planet is because of all the, rich and diverse things that you can do with dogs, but it's Bart, right? I can tell you that. And so I studied under Bart for a really long time. And after, we would train together when he would come to Australia. He's Belgian. He's living in America currently, but he would come to Australia do these schools where he would teach the theory and there's a theory week and then a practical week. And I would accompany him to all of those. So all up, I think we only spent about 16 weeks actually together with each other over a number of years. But then we would talk all the time, right? And one of the things that was really interesting to me was that Bart would give his information delivery. And because he's, something of a savant, there's no overhead projector. There's there's hardly any writing on the whiteboard. It's just him telling stories, right? It's just him sort of conveying the information. And then the practical training is, we bring out a dog and, okay, we've got this problem. Let's address this. And so what became really obvious to me was that while I was watching other people do their theory week and their practical week, and you're learning it from a guy who, as I've said, I think is the best dog trainer on the planet, you then leave going, okay, well, Bart said this and I saw him do that. That's the way it's done, right? And for sure, from many of his students, what I then saw them go on to do is become very dogmatic in that is the fact, that piece of theory is a fact that he said, and the way to train the dog is the way that they observed him do it or the way that they did under his guidance. But I did those courses many, many times with him, right? Like I was there for all of them that happened in Australia, and I saw him explain it a different way. Yeah. And I heard him tell that same story, but there was a different detail that he didn't put in the time that he told you, or that, the other way around. There was a detail for you that I didn't hear the first time I heard that story. And then I've seen him work that same problem you saw him work, but I saw him do that with a dog that was bigger and stronger. So he did it in a different way. Yeah. And I saw him fix that same dog with a dog that was smaller and weaker. So yet again, it was a different way. And so what I for sure observed was this dogmatism that came even from studying for 2 full weeks under arguably the best dog trainer on the planet, right? Because that's what they got to see. But I got to go to them all, and I was on the phone to Bart. We'd talk on the phone probably 2 hours most days, right? He would it kind of worked out well that he would be driving to work as I would be kind of driving home. So we had this overlap of where we would just talk to each other in the car all the time, and we just, talk shit and ask dog training questions and stuff like that. And then eventually it went from him teaching me about dogs to then him teaching me how to teach dog training stuff. And it wasn't too long before I kind of realized, when Bart didn't have a dog, and it sort of occurred to me one day, I was like, oh, I'm his dog, right? He's training me. It sort of occurred to me one day. But I remember having really a life-changing conversation with him where he asked me a question about something. What would you do in this particular situation? What did you think? And I came back with this confidence of oh, it's that, because I'd seen him do that. And then he was like, well, yeah, if there's these mitigating things. And to me, it was this there's no way to, there is no dogmatism. There is no, this is the way. There's 100 different ways to do anything. And we as trainers, it's our job is to sort of take that in, right? And look at that big picture and go, all right, even though I might, my skill set is of a particular nature and that lends to a particular style, this dog is in a particular situation and I know that this is what will help the owner and what their throughput, or how likely are they actually to do the things I'm meant to do, the way that I talk to this person in terms of what knowledge are they bringing into this conversation and what biases are they carrying. One of the things that's always really interesting to me is talking about, especially if this is an adult who's got their first adult dog, but they had dogs growing up, but this is their first one. Those people have a lot of baggage about the way daddy used to treat the dog. And it might be that it was because dad did it, this is how it has to be done, or because my dad did it, I'm never doing it that way. Yeah. Whatever. It can go both ways. So there is never oh, this is how it's going to be done. Right? There's always a level of nuance. There's always sort of taking in pros and cons about the particulars of the situation. Yeah. And where I was going with all this is when I started to teach the seminars, I had been to so many cool seminars that was look, this is how you teach this, right? And this is how you get this to happen. And those are cool. And I've got a lot of value from doing that. But it occurred to me, I was like, nah, I'm not doing that. So I do a whole theory day. And to me, I sort of go, hey, you got to understand behavioral science really, really well.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a level of ethology that you have to understand, right? Like, what is a dog,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And when we talk about behavioral science, we've got to say, okay, like operant and classical conditioning are our two main things. How does the dog respond? Operant conditioning is the fanciest ever way of saying fuck around and find out, right? Like, that is absolutely. Am I allowed to swear here? Surely,
Yeah.
Sam, you swear.
Yeah. We don't have a
hell.
warning on the thing, but we should.
Operant conditioning is the fanciest way of saying fuck around and find out. It literally is like from spontaneous action, consequences occur. And you might like the consequences or you might not, and you might do the thing again or you might not, right? Classical conditioning is a pairing of signals and how it all comes together and how a dog essentially learns. And when you know those things, and then you know what a dog is, because a dog sometimes just does dog stuff that can't be explained, because it's just, it's dog stuff. He's just doing dog stuff. That's a dog does that. And if you were to say to the dog, why did you do that? It'd be like, well, I'm a dog. Like, I do dog things, right? Like, that's the way it goes. So when you understand those things, now learning any particular technique, that's not that important, right? Because now I can go, oh, I see what's going on with this dog. He's doing a behavior I want to change.
Yeah.
All right. Well, now I go into why is he doing that? Well, he is a Kelpie and he is chasing cars or he is chasing scooters. Okay, well, that chances are he wasn't attacked by a scooter. He didn't have a bad experience with a scooter. Just Mother Nature, for some reason, tells that dog those scooter wheels are the same as sheep legs going through a crush, and you need to chase them down. And so we look at that and we go, okay, that's an ethology thing. Okay, that's hardwired in the dog. That immediately then says to me, okay, like differential reinforcement's off the table. That's not going to work, right? Like I can then make immediate decisions and say, if this were a Labrador that were chasing down that scooter and it were, doing it because it wanted to interact with the kid on the scooter because it loves kids and is like, there's the kid I want to chase him down, that's a completely different fix. But what we have is dog chases scooter. So when we look at that, it's very easy for the average dog trainer to say, oh, dog chases scooter, here's the fix. But then when you get there and you go, oh, no, these are completely different fixes. Like this is a completely different problem for a completely different reason with a completely different solution, depending on the details when we arrive there. It's not just dog chasing scooter. Dog chasing scooter, it doesn't really narrow anything down for me. What kind of dog? Why is he chasing it? What's he getting from that? What experience has he had with that? And so I think that's what, me and you were lamenting the problem the other day is when it's like, oh, dog chases scooter. In some camps, it's then like, okay, management, never see a scooter. And then in others, it says, okay, dog chases scooter, differential reinforcement of other behaviors. So in the presence of the scooter, pay the hell out of not chasing the scooter so that there's a reinforcement weight into not chasing the scooter and the dog makes that choice in the future. And with our Labrador running down for kids, sure, like that's actually maybe a really good fix. With our Kelpie, that will never in a million years work ever. It will never, ever, 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 ever work. And so then we go, okay, now we're looking into aversives. Okay, well, because that's the only way this is going to happen. And depending on the level of commitment from the dog, we then even say to the people, this is going to come back. Like you get 2 years out of this. Like we can punish this for sure. And we're going to reduce the frequency and likelihood of it, as is the definition of punishment, but we're not getting rid of this. In 2 years, you're going to call me again and we're going to have to do this again. And that's just the reality of ethology, right?
Yeah.
You can't out brain science the deep hardwired stuff that's going to happen. And of course, like then there's people who will hear this and go, oh, that's bullshit, Pat. I can make sure that never happens again, right? That's not coming back in 2 years if I do it. And to you, I'd say, I too have that skill set. However, like I don't want to do that, right? Like I don't want to do that to that dog because I would rather him be like, oh, no, that's off the table, but I live a wonderful life in other ways. Of course, I know how to shut down the seeking system of any dog. I can make him not enjoy anything ever again also, right? But that's not my choice in this moment, right? So I think that's it. And I think this is why on my course, it's why you've seen it a bunch of times, is I push and strive that you know it all, even if it's the dumb stuff, even if it's the stuff that
that's how I came to know everything, actually. So
know everything. It's how looking for the dumb stuff is how you found me.
That's right.
But you got to know that stuff, because sometimes what is absolutely ridiculous and we mock in this situation is the perfect answer in that situation, you know?
Yeah.
And so I think that's why being broadly skilled and open-minded is very, very important.
Yes. So with a good here's an example what I'm thinking. So Pat Stewart's a like high level sport dog / police working dog trainer, right? Is that accurate
Okay.
to say that?
Yeah. I mean, I'm one of the people that do that.
Okay. I'm a therapy dog trainer
Mhm.
and I'm training a livestock guardian dog.
Mm.
And those two styles of dog and dog jobs are not your like specialty,
Mm.
but you're my dog trainer.
Yeah.
So what the fuck?
Yeah, exactly.
This is what I'm saying. So like, how can that work? And then because I rock up at places and I'm the only therapy dog person there because I could give a flying fuck really if you think you don't know anything about therapy dogs or whatever, because what I really am after is like, I want the information. I just need because I don't think anyone knows, certainly in Australia, shots fired here. I don't think there's anyone else to look at for training therapy dogs, you know, in this country, especially, that I would look to and be like, tell me all your secrets,
Killing
you know?
it. Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, guys. You're all doing great. We're all doing great. Anyway, so
We're all doing our best.
we're all doing our best. We're all doing our best. Yes. So I remember when I booked in with you, when I started booking in with you, and you're like, what do you want? And I was like, your undivided attention for an hour. Thank you. Welcome. Welcome, Pat. So what I want people to maybe think about is that dogs, like you say, like you're explaining, like dogs are dogs, and having a thorough understanding of what dogs are and how they think and how they work and how they learn and what dogs' experiences are. I think that's a really core part of being able to be a successful dog trainer and handler. So our teams are handlers. And with that knowledge, the type of knowledge that I'm talking about is all of that intricate stuff about the dog's brain, how they're learning, blah, blah,
Yeah.
blah, applied to then your own individual situation and your own individual dog. And like those examples that you're just giving about Bart, like it's so challenging. No one else has your dog and no one
Yeah.
else is you, and no one else is trying to do exactly what you're trying to do with your dog. So I've had the same thing with my livestock guardian dog, which she is an individual, and there's things that I can learn and pick up from other people with livestock guardian dogs, but none of them are in my exact same situation. So, and that they don't have the same goals, and they don't have the same goats or house dogs or chickens or farm setup. And so there'll be some things that are similar and I can learn from. And then there's going to be some things that, like, sometimes I look at people's videos online and I'm like, how are they doing that? Like, why is there, what is going on there? How do I get my dog to do that? I want my dog to do that. But yeah, so I want to encourage the teams to become experts in their own dog, which I've said that to you before, teams, becoming an expert in your own dog. But to do that, to like actually gain a much deeper understanding of dog and what is dog, and then apply that to your dog through your lens, because the person who knows your dog best is you. So trainers can help you along the way, definitely, of course. But I would just really want to encourage our handlers, our teams, to be able to start thinking a bit more critically and doing a bit more problem solving, rather than seeing, like you said, because it's happening with online content as well.
Yeah.
Seeing someone say something and then trying to map that directly onto their experience with their dog. And I think that is going to cause problems.
Yeah. You know, I'm going to jump the gun a little bit and steal from the next episode of my own podcast.
Have you recorded it?
No. But me and Glenn have been discussing, and Glenn has kind of put out a little bit into the zeitgeist that there feels like there's a cultural difference in the training space, like in dog training now versus pre-COVID.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's undeniable. The world is a very different place. People have different feelings about things. It's a very different thing. Like most notably to myself is I used to travel heaps for work, right? Like I would be overseas every month. I would be around the world doing things. And the idea of putting an ocean between myself and my family now just seems foolish, right? Because the idea that like, travel could stop at a moment's notice and you won't be able to get home. That was like, yeah, righto, like 1 in a million. But then it happened. And so now I'm like, oh, well, that did suddenly happen. So now I have to be careful about traveling, right? So we are in a different world. But I think something that's happened, and it's something that I've kind of remarked on a little bit along the way, and now I'm almost certain of it, was when Glenn said to me the other day, he's like, mate, I really want to try and figure out like what has happened to dog trainers, because like we are communicating differently. The community is different. What's happened? And I am convinced it's short form vertical content. I am convinced that what has completely changed, because that's what came about during COVID. So like Instagram, for example, started doing reels mid 2020. Before that, there was only TikTok, and TikTok was only Instagram started reels because TikTok was starting to gain traction.
Right. I remember that now.
Yeah. And TikTok really wasn't in the West until 2020, or maybe 2019. Right.
I can't even imagine my life without reels now, but yes, continue.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Exactly. So before that, dog trainers sort of coalesced mostly in forums. So there were dog training groups, right? So like the Canine Paradigm discussion group, that was like at its peak pre-COVID, and during the first little bit of COVID, there's 10,000 people in there, all that are industry people in one way or another. That they might not be full-time trainers, but they're people who are at the minimum enthusiasts with their own dog. Yeah. And it's conversations. And before Facebook, before that in the online space, like, in Australia, we had Dogs Online, where it was like message boards, and people would argue like dickheads in there. and in America, all around the world, there's all different forums that people were in. There were ways of doing this, and we would go to events. We would go like, and similarly, like if you were having a seminar, you had to go to all the clubs in the area and like put up the poster. You had to actually go and see the people and be like, hey, can I put this in your training space so that your people know about this seminar? And so we were much more connected people, and connections, multiple connections gives you multiple points of view, right? And multiple potential ways of understanding things. So what I see now, and to many of us who have been around a while, we're still sort of doing that. Here we are, we're having this conversation, right? And I have conversations with all kinds of people. I'm on all kinds of people's podcasts, that are across various different things, and we can talk. We can because overwhelmingly as dog trainers, we agree on most stuff, right? The things that we disagree on are big disagreements, but it's usually pretty minor. I think that when you're watching a dog person, like an actual dog person who really gets dogs, handle a dog, no matter what their ethos is, you're gonna see pretty much the same shit, right? Like as they're doing it. So what we have now is we've gone from a world where I could say, hey, the way to do things is this. And that would happen in a dog space. That would happen in a forum or a group or wherever, where only other dog people are going to see that, right? And if I go, I've got big feelings that this cattle dog has 2 legs, and someone else goes, Pat, the photo is at a weird angle, mate. That cattle dog's got 4 legs. And then I go, oh, yep, you're right. Oh, you got me, right? And I can leave that post there and be like, oh, no big deal, right? Like I made a mistake and I was corrected, and it turns out it does have 4 legs. But now the way that would happen would be I would post a reel, and it would include that, and I say, this cattle dog has 2 legs. And instead of it being a conversation in that place, because I'm now putting that to my audience, right? And these are my customers. These are my clients. And these are the people that think I'm an expert. Yeah. So if somebody goes, hey, Pat, that dog's got 4 legs, I'm going to delete that post, or I'm going to go, no, it fucking doesn't, right? Yeah. And then you know how they're going to respond? They're going to make their own piece of content to their audience that says, This idiot reckons this cattle dog has 2 legs. It's just a silly photo that you can tell that from this angle, it does have 4 legs. What an idiot. And then someone sends that to me. And then I go looking for any other dirt I can find on this guy. And now we're in a back and forth vertical content battle, because the battle is like, we don't engage directly with each other. You say your part on your platform, I say my part on my platform. And our audiences, if they care, are bouncing between the two. And the two of us are seeing our metrics go up. Right. And we're watching our engagement numbers go up. And because your audience is watching you tell me I'm an idiot, they have to come and see what I have to say. So now they're my audience too. Right. And so whether they love me or hate me, they're in my pool of people that I'm communicating with. So as a result, because of the way that we're no longer directly communicating with each other, I think that we are more deeply indoctrinating ourselves, because we don't put ourselves in a position to be wrong gracefully. And I think that's one of the really important things, is being wrong gracefully. Like I strive to do that. And I think that, in terms of us having a conversation about critical thinking, I think that's what's the missing piece in critical thinking around the world at the moment, is being wrong with grace and just going like, oh, yep, made a mistake. Like that's on me.
Because
sorry.
People are now wrong so publicly.
Yep.
And like, quite honestly, I don't know that I would be wrong with grace publicly. I think I would change my name and, just delete everything of my existence and just be like, see yous. Like,
exactly. And that's
fuck
what we
all
see.
that.
That's what we see. And the internet only has a 3-month memory. So like you can just disappear for 3 months and come back.
It's like when you do something embarrassing at school, and they're like, it's just got to wait till the next time the next kid.
Yeah, you just got to wait for someone else to do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep. Pee in your pants is cool.
When I was in high school, I was in grade 9, because we were wearing school uniforms. So I was wearing a netball skirt and a polo. And this girl who was my friend went to like pretend to push me. I was sitting on a fence, pretend to push me, like fake out, but she actually pushed me off this thing. And it's this fence that I'm sitting on. It was just a pipe like that, right? So I fall over the back of it, but I've got my backpack on, so I can't get up. I'm like a turtle, and my legs are still on the fence, right?
Yeah.
So I'm flashing the whole grade 10, because I used to sit in the grade 10 area because I was so cool. I was allowed to sit with the grade 10s. But I had flashed all of them. And it was for like, it was probably only a couple of seconds, but it felt like 5 minutes for me to act, because I couldn't get up because I was all turtled down by my backpack. And I was like, obviously, I can never come back here ever again.
Yeah.
But I can't remember what it was that took over. But yeah, it didn't take long. Everyone got over it.
I remember, it's almost similar story. I remember when I was in the army, it was early days. I was at the School of Infantry, right? And one of the PDIs just decided, I'm going to break them today. Like sometimes they just get up with like just evil in their mind. So we're doing this insane workout and we're running this insane amount between all these things. And I can remember thinking, I'm going to have to stop. Like we were doing this run and I thought, I don't have much left in the tank. Like I'm going to have to quit. And that's going to be so embarrassing for me, because like I'm in this group of 25 odd dudes or whatever it is. And if I'm the first one to quit, like how embarrassing. And I'm thinking to myself, I don't really have much left in me. And and you're then kind of thinking, well, if I just make it to that tree, like I'll just make it to that one. And then you get to that one, you're like, okay, I'm just going to make it to that one. And I'm sort of, as I'm deciding which is the next marker, I'm just going to make it that the dude next to me just goes in on his face. Just unconscious running. And I remember thinking, thank fuck. Yeah, thank fuck that happened to you.
Did you just like stop to pretend?
Oh, come on, get up. We're all wanting to run. Yeah. You're letting us all down.
Just try and help him up. I'm just going to give this guy mouth to mouth. Actually, I think he's like, he's not breathing. He's like, let me up. You're like, shut up.
Oh, dear. So yeah, I know a thing or two about being embarrassed.
Yeah. So, it does suck. It sucks being wrong and it sucks being embarrassed. Maybe there's probably a reason that we have those feelings, probably to try and make us not do stupid stuff. Practice a little bit of bloody impulse control before we say things, maybe from time to time, which can, those like disreal situations that you're talking about, which if you're not in the dog trainer sphere, you might not know what we're talking about, but it's pretty straightforward. The back and forth of people are just arguing about how to do stuff and calling each other idiots and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I think sometimes people react really quickly to stuff and then they haven't thought things through. Do you know, remember how I told you that I don't really get along with my chat GPT? Do you remember me saying that? Did I already tell you this? So do you know what chat GPT did to me?
No.
It fucking embarrassed me in front of myself. So I asked it, I thought I was so smart. I was like, how would you train a dog? AI. And it gave me all these like balanced answers.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. I've saved it as evidence. I'll show it to you. It's like, and I'm like, really? Like, really? Are you just saying that to me? And it's like, no, like this is, and it like gave me all this. This is why balanced dog training is the way to go. Da, 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 da. So I'm having like an internal, like almost like a God complex meltdown where I'm like, I am the smartest person in the world. I've just solved this debate using AI. Like I couldn't believe it. Like I'm like screenshotting it. I'm like, pull out my phone. I'm ready to text it to you, right? And be like, look at this. I'm a genius. Like you just got to ask AI. And the answers were so good. And I was like, hey, well, hang on. Went outside, found my partner who's never used ChatGPT in his life, asked the same question, all positive only answers.
Yeah.
So I had a meltdown, messaged my best friend, Carla, and I was like, babe, she's a dog person. Can you ask it this question? Her fully force-free answers.
Yeah.
So I stormed back inside, got back on ChatGPT, and I was like, you lied to me. I almost made a fool out of myself. And then I saw other dog trainers, because you know how everything's always listening to me all the time, which I don't care that you're listening to me, ChatGPT. I've told ChatGPT that I think it's an idiot. It knows. And then I saw dog trainers posting that shit, like being like exactly like how I was like, oh my God, and asking the AI and then posting its answers. And I'm like, you see, I look a bit silly because it's talking to you. Like it knows you. Like I made it admit that it was lying to me. It tried to tell me that it wasn't lying to me and that my friends used a different prompt and whatever. And I'm like, well, that's interesting because I've like told them exactly what to write and I actually wrote it in my partner's phone. So
yeah, I think especially with most of the AIs, certainly ChatGPT is looking to affirm you as much as possible to keep you on the platform, right? It just wants to make you feel happy and nice and keep paying your subscription fee, or talk you into paying a subscription fee if you have a free account.
So a little bit of impulse control and a little bit of critical thinking saved me from making an absolute massive dick of myself on that occasion. So how do we, what do we want critical thinking to look like in people? Do you get this? Do you get your handlers or people that come along and they ask you questions that they probably, like, do you find that you're guiding people to answer things for themselves? Like,
so for me, like there's a bit of a gate I have to go through because I deal with a lot of different people, right? So if I've got, say, a military working dog handler who has a particular problem in front of him, for him in that moment, I'm going to say, just do these things. Doesn't matter whether you understand it or anything, just do these things because you trust me. I'm here to teach you, do these things because you're in this situation. And then afterwards, I can then say, hey, we did that for these reasons.
Would that be in the moment we're training the dog and after the moment I'm training you?
Yeah, exactly. And then depends, like if I'm in someone's home, this is where there's a real sliding scale because some people just need to know, how do I do it?
Yeah.
And then other people, that's, maybe I might even put you into this category with many people. If I go, this is how you do it, you'll do it every way except that way in order to find out why it had to be that way. And so if I am encountering one of those people, then there's a lot more information, right? Oh, well, we're going to do it this way because, and I need to, with certain people, and the reason I put you in that category is because you want me to demonstrate that I have already done the critical thinking. This is not just an impulse that I'm firing. And this is not me like, oh, no, I've only ever seen this one time before. So that's how I did it last time. So it's going to work this time. This is me in the moment. I've got to go do this. But for a person like you, I'll be like, because of these things, we have these 6 options and we are going to like explore these 6 options. Oh no, that one's off the table because of this. Oh, well, this one would be really good, except this mitigating factor. So then we end up with this one, and then you've explored them mentally and sort of been through that journey of, okay, we have trial and errored elsewhere. We don't need to trial and error again here, and we can then do it. So it really depends on the person and why we're in their place. I sometimes, I've had this go both ways for me. I've been in someone's house and you go, oh, yeah, you're trying to get a sense of what language do I use with this person? Because you don't know, like, you're in a new client's house. You kind of don't know their backstory. You don't know their level of intelligence. You don't know what they know, right? So you're kind of probing for that kind of information so that you can deliver the best version of the information that you're going to give. And when someone says they
the version of yourself that they are going to be able to hear that from.
Exactly. So sometimes, I've had people say, oh, I am a psychologist. And then I'm like, cool. You're going to understand some of the words that I'm going to use. But I usually when someone says that to me, I'm like, I'm about to do a lot of explaining to you. Whereas, other people are like, hey, just fix a problem. I'll be outside doing the garden if you need help. Like they're like, I'm not interested. Just you fix the issue. I don't want to hear the problem. So we've got to figure that out and sort of decide like which is the way we go. And to me, that's why all the critical thinking that I'm doing about this stuff is done in my thinking time. Like this is, I'm a nerd for this. This is, I love dog training. It's my whole life. I've devoted since I left the army, I've just 10 years doing it and training others. It's all, I think it, I breathe it, I sleep it. So like, I find myself thinking a lot of the times, like in my downtime about like, what would be the output of that? Like, I don't just take anything at face value. There's got to be a lot of like, okay, but then that might happen, then that might happen. And then I got to find a dog and that I can do these things too. Cause I've got to figure out, I've got to see this through. I've got to handle a dog, which is why this is one of the reasons why I love being so involved with the training of dogs to go to work, because we're getting those dogs at 8 weeks old and we sell them at about the 12-month-ish mark, and we get to see the through-put, right?
Yeah.
Like, and I get to do things. Someone might say, oh, you do things a weird way, Pat. I would do the puppy development, the bite work like this. And so if they can show me merit in that, I'll do it. I'll give it a crack. And then because I get to see that in 6 months turn into what they thought or not, and I get to experiment with these things, and having a good level of base knowledge sort of means that I'm not doing terrible experiments. I'm not doing stupid stuff that is going to get me or the dog damage, but I can move left and right of what I would normally do and then see like, what was the outcome? How did that go? And that means that my training is never, finished. It's constantly evolving. I'm constantly messing with different things. And that's why it's been my experience. And this used to frustrate the shit out of me when you'd talk to the best dog trainers on the planet and you'd give them the situation and they'd go, yeah, I mean, maybe, yeah. And you'd be like, no, I need answers. Like, I feel very sure about this. And you're like,
Depends.
because they know like everything depends, right?
Depends.
Like there's so many different factors that go into these things. And you can't hold space for all of those factors without critical thinking.
We just literally, before we started recording, we just literally had that exact conversation that you just described, where I was telling you about someone's dog that's doing something that they told me about. And I was like, looking at it going, that needs to go to someone who knows what they're talking about, this sort of stuff. And I talked to you about it. And then, literally same thing, like going like, that's.
Yeah, I watched the video and was like, yeah, I've got follow-up questions. Like that's not enough for me. I can't decide off of that. I need more information.
Funny you say that, because that's exactly like that. What I showed, that is exactly what I've written underneath. I'm like, more information required, and then got a bit more and went divert to someone else who needs to do. And actually that's something, I'll come back to that, but that's something that I'd like to talk a little bit about too. What information should people have ready in like when they go to their dog trainer to talk about? Because I know when we're doing these interviews, like with people, like there's heaps of questions, but just to get people start thinking about it. Just want to go back a smidge. when you're saying before, sometimes people, when they're doing the beef online and their likes go up, do you think that you and I should have like a fake online beef?
I
Like a
mean, we
fight?
could. What would we fight over though? That's kind of the question.
We could put like a vote up to the people and people
About what we could fight over. How many followers do you have?
I don't know. I don't know, not many, probably. I don't know. I shouldn't say that. Probably lots. Thanks, Max.
That's funny.
That's Maxine's department.
Yeah, right, okay. Yeah, it for sure, like, that's a large part of why people do that. I can see that there's a big name in dogs in the force-free space. I try not to say his name as much as possible, but it's very clear that's what he's doing. Like, it's very clear that he's there. You can look at the numbers. Like, it's not hard. You don't have to be a social media expert to look at someone's page, look at the numbers, and understand their motivations for doing things, right? Like, it's very clear. If they're most engaged with content is the controversy, they will create more controversy.
I don't even know, how do people make money off the internet? How do you get money from the internet?
Yeah, no. So like, this is part of the issue, right? Businesses, I literally just got off a call before I was talking to you about someone wanting to come into the dog training space, has worked in corporate sort of her whole life and is now looking to, like, has been made redundant. This is the opportunity. It's been very interested in being a dog trainer, has had hands on lots of dogs, but now is thinking, okay, I'd like to make this a job, and was asking me about the industry. And what I told her was, the really cool thing about the dog training industry is it's completely unregulated, right? Now that brings us some disaster. In many ways, that brings us disaster, but it also means that you can run your business however you want to run your business, right? You can offer all kinds of services, and if people want to take you up on those services, cool, right? And what I have found is, when we're talking about, social media, is people have largely forgotten, like, social media is e-commerce now. Everybody is looking to build their brand and stuff online. And I have not a huge online presence, but a decent one. And like, I'm not going to say I dislike it, but like, it's not always comfortable to have that, right? And to be a person who puts information online in order to try and sell yourself or a product. And so what I see in the dog training space, and it's what I was telling her, is that a lot of dog trainers are trying to make content that serves the dog space. And that doesn't, if you're an actual go to people's houses, or, people bring the dogs to you, whatever it is, having content that serves the dog space doesn't make you any money. Like, that's not going to bring you clients, right? Traditional word of mouth, good advertising, email marketing campaigns, actual ads, is because when people have a problem with the dog, they're going to Google dog trainer.
All of our business comes from Google. All of our business comes from Google, and our emails, email marketing.
For sure, as a dog trainer, you have to have an Instagram or a TikTok or whatever you have. But all that is showing that the lights are on. Yeah, that's all that is. And so you just need a photo of, like, here's reactive Jake, we're working on his reactivity. That's it. You don't need to show, and this is what we're doing, and this is how the process, because that's dog trainer content. As a business owner, you only want followers in your area. You don't want people all around the world, because you can't service those people, right? You want people in your area, so you don't want a big following. It doesn't, I mean, there's nothing wrong with having it, but it doesn't serve you. But all of us have got it into our head that you need this big following. Once you have a big following, now to monetize that, you've got to have a product to sell. So if you really know about something and you can teach, you can have an online product. And that's why I have it, right? Like, I have an online course. I'm very proud of it. It's really, really good. It develops an incredible amount of knowledge that people can actually action and implement, right? But then it does. That to me works because I'm in that space of, like, that's what I provide. When you get to that, like, 1 million+ followers, now you're in a whole different ball game of, you can sell influence, and you're going to sell other people's products, and you're just a marketer. right? And so that's how people are making, that's where they want the controversy. So if you're like, hey, I hold this opinion on dog training, I'm not selling that information. I'm not teaching people how to do it. It's just an opinion that I hold. And that information is free and I'm going to put it all over. But look at this fucking cool dog bed that I get a 10% commission from every time someone buys one, right? Or look at this dog food that's actually fucking dog shit that I want you to buy. I would never dream of feeding this to my dog, but I'm going to tell you to because like they're going to pay me to do that, right? So so social media, we're all interacting as though we're doing the same thing. We're not doing the same thing, even a little bit. Some of us are just going like, hey, I'm a functioning business. Come in, I'll train your dog. I'll do a really good job in person. People like me are then like, hey, I know heaps about this stuff. If you want to learn it from me, you can do that. Click this link. And then there's, hey, I am trying to influence the way that you think and feel about dogs. And these brands are paying me to influence you in a particular direction because they want you to buy these products. And they're just pet peripheral products that you are, because you own a dog, you need, because we all need a dog bed, right? We all need a collar. We all need this shit. So, and the brand deals part is where things get gross. Because when I post something, I then have to look and go, hey, what was the engagement like? What did people say about that? What did that turn into? Like, did I get people clicking the link? I can measure all that. I can see, oh, yeah, that didn't really work. Maybe I posted a different time, whatever. But it's all me. But if I've got a brand deal, they're like, hey, man, you told me 150,000 people would see this. Like you said that this would get a minimum 500,000 impressions. And so far, it only has 300,000 impressions. So we paid you for 500,000 impressions and we've only got 300,000. So then as that person, you then sit there and you go, oh, fuck, I need 200,000 more eyeballs on this post.
Gotta take my shirt off.
Well, if you can, that would be great, right? So that's one of your options. Take your shirt off. Yeah, me neither. So maybe I should just call someone a dickhead in this post and hopefully they're offended by it enough that they share the post and they go, this guy called me a dickhead, and his audience sees it. And I get the impressions that I told Reactive Jake's bed company that I would get, right? So that's how it works.
If you're not hot, you have to be a fuckwit. So
or controversial. Yeah. There's that one guy, I can't even remember his name, but he is fucking good looking and trains dogs with his shirt off. And every time he comes off my feet, I'm like, oh, power to you, bro. Like,
I think that too. There's heaps of girls that are the same and they just look fantastic out there training their dogs. And I'm like, get it, girl. Get it, girl. Like, I would absolutely be doing that if I look like that. So, but no, I'm just going to start controversies, I guess, so I can get rich off the internet.
That's what people like me and you just left with, stirring shit up. I mean, we do have the option of being good at our jobs, but fuck that.
Or I could get fit, but it sounds like it'd take longer.
Also too hard. Also too hard. Listen, I've been really fit and I've been fat, and I can tell you fat's way more fun.
Yeah, you get to eat whatever you want and be a dickhead on the internet.
Yeah, exactly.
It's fun all around.
Exactly.
Okay, cool. So that sounds like a waste of time. Have you seen our Instagram? It's like
probably
pictures of it. Like I'm not on it. Like,
yeah, but that's all. Like that's like overwhelming. That's what a business Instagram should be. You're not looking for people that want to see you in their feed every day. You're just looking for so that people can look it up and go, oh yeah, they posted yesterday. That business is functioning. Because, so much of the internet is dead. Like there's so many.
Oh my God, totally.
Yeah. Like I recently got into the marketing funnel of an extinct company, and I cannot get out of it because clearly no one works there. And the automations are just hitting me. And like, I even booked a call with them and all kinds of stuff because I was like, oh yeah, this would be great. No one turns up for the call. I'm like, hey, where is anyone? No replies to anything, but they're still emailing me and I can't even unsubscribe from it. Like, because they're...
What the hell?
Yeah, because it's dead company. No one works there. They've shut it down and forgot about it. But until they stop paying their subscription for the thing that they set up, it'll just keep doing what it was automated to do. And I think that's what a lot of the internet is doing currently, right? Like a lot of the internet is dead. And so that's why it's important if you've got a website because nobody's updating their website daily, weekly, right? Like that's the point of social media. It's like, hey, I'm training a dog today. I'm doing a thing. This business is functioning. If you want to employ me, here's the phone number.
The other thing to consider, if there's any other business owners listening in, I know, like, I do want people to know, like, who we are at Therapy Dogs Australia. But I think our podcast is that, like, this is you actually can have, people feel like they know you. Would hear this all the time. People feel like they know you because they're a part of these conversations because they're having this conversation with us, even though we can't hear them. They're having all their thoughts and all that sort of stuff. So people get to know us this way. But if I have myself as the brand, like as in me, Sam, is Therapy Dogs Australia, when I finally get the shits with all this and don't want to fucking do it anymore, it's a lot harder to sell your business.
Impossible even, yeah.
Yeah.
That's the situation I'm in, for sure. Yeah.
You'll be okay.
No, and like it makes it impossible even to scale.
Yeah. What does that mean?
I can't even scale because if you book a session with me and you roll in and somebody else is there,
I would be livid.
Yeah, totally. And like one of the things when I was priming to release the new course and was trying to figure out, okay, what are the deliverables and how's that look? They were like, oh, you should have like live coaching every day. All the business coaches like that. I'm like, yeah, but then how do I get anything done? Like how do I train a dog for real life? Like if I'm sitting here talking to people and they're like, no, you just have other coaches. I'm like, like, no.
Is it Helmet Riser?
Yes. I think the course is literally called Everything Pat Knows. Like that literally is the name of the course. So like you buy that course and then you're like, okay, got some questions for here, and it dials up and it's not Pat. You're like,
just
hey,
John.
what the fuck? Like how are you gonna tell me everything Pat knows if you're not Pat? It doesn't work.
Yeah. So there's that issue. And also, so yeah, I don't know, we're a bit off topic, but it's interesting to think about. But anyway, okay. Back into what we're talking about. When you're saying before, so we're giving a dog training advice to people and people have questions. I've noticed my answers to people's questions or the way that I deliver information to them. So, because I watch people's videos and then give them feedback. A couple of things that give me a bit of information is like what kind of gear they've got on their dog and what toys they're using as their rewards. In my world, that's a range. Like you would be seeing a lot of this similar stuff because people already know. But when I see people with proper gear and proper toys, the dog trainer speak goes up like 3 levels. Because I'm like, you obviously know what you're doing because you've got the right gear and you've got the right equipment.
Yeah, stuff you can't buy from a pet store.
Yes. Yeah. You bought that online because you saw it somewhere and someone told you to get it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're obviously involved somewhere with dogs.
For sure. I agree with that.
Yeah. So when I give, like what you're saying before, when I give people feedback, so whether it's in a course or in our classes, whatever, one thing that can come back sometimes, and I get a little bit like about it, but I shouldn't, is like the next week or whatever, people will be like, I'll say something to someone, and then the next week I'll say something else, and someone will go, but last week you said XYZ, or like maybe Amy, my other facilitator, has gone, oh, Amy said XYZ to such and such about whatever, not full realizing like that it is new, the advice is nuanced. Like that's, that is what I said to that person then about that. And now what I'm saying to you now about this is going to be different to that because you are in a different situation, or I can see something different in the dog or whatever, all that stuff you were talking about before. So I guess I want people to know and understand that that's the expertise of the dog trainer, is that we're looking at all those different domains, but I want my handlers to learn to look at that too. So I want them to be able to start asking themselves questions and thinking things like, oh my God, remember how I told you about Kiki? Everyone knows who Kiki is. Killed that chicken.
Yeah.
Then while I was away, do you know what I saw the other day? I was in the goat yard with her, the little baby kid goat. So that chicken, there was baby chickens in there. And the little baby kid goat went too close to the baby chickens, and the mummy chicken chased the baby goat, and Kiki was straight in there and was like, you don't chase my baby goat. and it broke up and it was fine. And I was like, I bet that's what happened, is that she saw that chicken chasing the baby goats. She was very protective of those babies when they were brand new babies, the goats. They're a couple of weeks older now, and she's relaxed quite a bit around them.
If only there were a way for her to just correct that chicken instead of it being a capital punishment.
She holds serious grudges. I fear for anything that upsets her. She got upset at one of the roosters this morning because he was eating the food and the water out of the baby chicken's hutch, and she just wasn't having it. She was like, get out. Get out. You're an adult male. Get out of the nursery. She wasn't having it. I had to chase him because I had her tied up. I had to chase him out of there because she just couldn't. She was like, get the fuck out. The whole doors are open and everything. She wasn't having it. She was like, nah, you. No. Do you know who she did give a correction to? Penny, our little Staffy. She corrected her yesterday, and I nearly had a tear because I was so proud of her, because I thought she was going to kill her. The dog's Kiki's tied up. Got another story about this. This is becoming about me, but that's all right. So the dog's tied up. The livestock guardian dog, Kiki. I let the other house dogs out because I'm starting to do a bit of that now because I don't have time. I don't have time with all this shit that I spend all this time sitting in the goat yard. Anyway, so we're living harmoniously. Penny's a nightmare. She's this little Staffy. She's just she's a little shit stirrer, but she is weak as piss. Like, she just got nothing, right?
Yeah.
Which is devastating to my partner because he wants her to be a little toughy, but
he wants a thug. Yeah,
she's a little bitch. Anyway, so she goes over. I don't even know what this was about, but Penny started it. And Kiki went back at her. Kiki's very full on in the play still. So she's very like that, you know, and then Penny did whatever, I don't know. And then Kiki had to go, like, rolled her. And Penny is screaming, right? Squealing, screaming, to the point where, so it was like, okay, it was like, you know, a second or two. And then I was like, fuck, I'm going to have to intervene here because she's going to cause Kiki to kill her because of the way she was screaming. Like, I was like, I can't have you screaming like that around this fucking dog. Shut up. Get out of there. You know, she's screaming. And I'm going in to go and correct. And I'm like standing right there, and Kiki's got her pinned down, got her mouth open. She's not even touching her. Just got her mouth open and doing the big dog, big correction noise with her mouth open. Penny's like over under here. Her mouth's here. She's got her like, she's not even touching her. And Penny's just screaming. And I was like, get out of it. And they stopped doing it. But I was so proud of her for a big girl correction, a big responsible girl correction. I was very impressed by that. Without murder. So I was really proud. I have seen her correct the chickens without lethal force. It's when someone has commit a crime that she can't move past. Anyway, why was I talking about that? Oh, because I figured it out. The other thing I figured out, the baby chickens, because there's 55 baby chickens, right? So, and I've just let them out in the yard so they don't fit in the hutch that I made. Okay. It's got crowded. So I was like, because they're maybe like 6 weeks old. I've got most of their feathers. So it's chaos. Like, you go to my barn, there's 55 baby chickens just running around everywhere. They're just everywhere. And they're all different colors, and they are hilarious, and they chase you, and they're fast, and all they do is bite the dogs. And it's so funny. It's hilarious. And then you've got the adult chickens, because there's like 30 or 25 adult chickens up there as well. And then there's 10 in the goat yard, right? It's just chicken central. Chicken central. So Kiki, she can be around them. And I've been using her e-collar for, you know, like if I say to her, leave it, I've got two. I've got leave it, which means disengage, and I've got back off, which means give them a bit more space. Mm-hmm. If she ignores me, I can use my collar, negative reinforcement, away, move back, you know, I can move her back, et cetera, et cetera. So that's all cool. But I let the chickens out, and she's like, you can tell she's overwhelmed with like responsibility. She's like, oh God. And she's trying to walk all around the chickens everywhere. She's like, sort of tries to keep them together, I think. She's like, everybody just stay where I can see you, please, in one group. And chickens don't flock like that. So
Yeah,
they're just doing what they're pecking her on the face. They're pecking her on the feet. They're chasing her around. She's like, this is out of control. And I'm like, oh, look, she's not eating them. That's good. Like, good girl. And after a bit of that, because she's supervised still with these guys, after a couple of days, I'm like, this doesn't look like it's actually that much fun for the dog because she's active the whole time.
Yeah. She's stressing about
I think
controlling
she's
them.
stressed. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh, because I'm thinking, oh, I've got the e-collar on. She can't eat them. Good. Success. Like, she's not eating them. And I'm like, look, she's following them around. She likes them. Success. Like, tick. But then when you actually think about it and you watch the dog, look at her body language, watch the dog, what is she doing? Well, she's actively working this whole time. And I was like, the e-collar is not the right tool for this. I need to tie her up. So I tethered her. And when she's tethered, she just sits down and then lays down. And I've got this cute video of her this morning.
She drops the responsibility of needing to do it. She's like, I can't do it.
Yeah.
So therefore there's no point stressing over not being able to do it. I just give up.
Yeah. And this other thing I'll talk to you about was that habituation stuff. So so cute. She looks sad, like laying there, because I'm sure she wants to follow the birds around, but also she's learning to be and feel at this level of arousal. I don't know if she was relaxed this morning because she looked sad, but maybe she was relaxed. Maybe she wasn't relaxed yet. But what I'm going to keep doing is showing her that you can be in the presence of some 80 birds that came out of nowhere.
Yeah, we don't know how they arrived, but you're definitely ready for the apocalypse.
I'm so ready. I've been selling
Definitely ready for that solar storm that's coming.
With my goat milk and my millions of chicken eggs and baby chickens, and I've become a chicken doula because now I've been selling my fertile chicken eggs to all of the local people in the area, and they message me photos of the baby chicks that have hatched and also lots of chicken hatching questions. So now I'm a chicken doula. That happened yesterday.
Amazing.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Back to what I was talking about.
Well, let me talk about that e-collar and your dog for a second.
Oh.
Because I think that's an interesting conversation in of itself, right? So you've got a livestock guarding dog and it's too close to some of the animals. It's not quite sure whether like, hey, are you like my dinner or are you something I should be protecting?
Or play. She wants to play with them.
Play with all the various things go through her head. And you said you can give her a bit of a command and a tap on the e-collar and that has the desired effect that you want. So like when we talk critical thinking, this is one of those, it's a really good example actually, in that like a third party now could listen to that and go, oh, I got that problem. Right?
Yeah.
So I could just put my e-collar on the dog, say back up and send the dog. Your fucking livestock guarding dog will eat the fucking chickens,
100%.
like without a doubt. Like if it's staring at the chickens and it's like, I'm not sure what to do here, and then you stim it for the first time in its life, it's gonna eat those fucking chickens without any doubt, and it is gonna eat those chickens with ferocity. Like it is not just going to eat them; it's gonna murder them and then eat what's left, right? Because there's prep work that has to be done, and so like it would be totally reasonable for somebody listening to say, "Yep, I have that exact same problem." You didn't mention anything about all the work that like maybe you have on the show in the past, but there's been a lot of e-collar work that gets to the point where that dog fully understands this is communication, but it's communication that I really better fucking listen to, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like it means business, but I know the meaning of it. Me and you have discussed this at length. You've been doing it. There's a whole that leads to that. But it's totally reasonable that somebody listening goes, I've got that exact problem, right? And they jump online and they go, oh, e-collars between $300 and $2,000. Not on Amazon, they're not. I'll just pick up one of these $12 ones, right? So there's like e-collar is an e-collar. Got it. $12 arrives tomorrow. Whack, it goes on the dog. Ding, murder. Okay? And then it's totally relevant and fair that person goes, these motherfuckers led me astray, right? And these fucking balanced dog trainers told me to get an e-collar, and the e-collar just resulted in the entire murder of my small farm, right? Like I thought I was apocalypse ready. I was ready for the solar storm. Turns out now I just have one livestock guarding dog. Right? And I've got a freezer full.
A bloodthirsty.
Yeah. Who now I can't control and kills everything around, right? Like, right, okay. And he's wearing that collar for the rest of his life because I can't go anywhere and get it off. Yeah. So then where do they go? They go to the forum and they're like, this fucking happened. And then they're met with a bunch of people who are like, that's what we told you, that we have been telling you for years. You're like in the force-free group here. That is what we have been saying will happen. And you did it nonetheless, you idiot. What else did you think was going to happen, right? And so that's where I think the critical thinking sort of part goes in. We've got to go like, oh, right. Okay, like even though that's a really simple conversation and what you said is just so throwaway. Oh, like I just stimmed her. She knew what to do. It was a bit of negative reinforcement. She was bullshit. It's not that simple, right? Like that has been literal hours of conversation between me and you, like untold hours of work for you into the dog, trial and error and like working through all this stuff to now be in a position where that e-collar doesn't upset the dog even a little bit, but goes like, oh yeah, cool, got it. Like I can take that information in this moment, got it. And I understand I'm under control. Sweet, understood. Right. That is a lot of work to get to that point. Work absolutely worth doing because now you're there, but it's work nonetheless. And it has to be done or you get the opposite effect. And I think that is a perfect example. I was thinking of it as you were saying it, like that's where the critical thinking comes in, where you go, okay, this isn't as simple as it seems. There's more to this. And that's the involvement of, multiple opinions, people that know it, and aggregating opinions as well. It's like you said, like when you wanted me to help you with that dog, I was like, let me introduce you to my friend Alex, who knows about those dogs. Okay? But then it's like, no, but I want to talk dog training. Like it's big picture dog training stuff. I'm no livestock guy. The one I know the most is yours. Like I'm not a livestock guarding guy, but I understand dogs. And when you then say to me, hey, this is what I'm thinking, I can then sit here and go, let me play that out. Let's the two of us brainstorm how that might go wrong. Let's decide on the pros and cons of that. Is that worth it? Like, first of all, can that even be successful? Is there a world where what you're suggesting can work? Yeah. Okay. These are the things we got to do to get there. Okay. Is the juice worth the squeeze on that? Like, what's that going to cost us versus what's that's going to get us? Is there another way? We got to take into account at this point, how does it make you feel? How does it make the dog feel? All these sorts of things, they have to like come together for us to form a picture of that. Then we go, yep, that sounds like the thing to do. Away you go. Right? Yeah. Whereas if it's like, oh, I heard it on a podcast, kablamo! Like,
Lightning bolt.
Yeah. That probably isn't the answer.
No, and it's on that journey. Like I can't just text you every day and be like, and what do I do now?
Yeah.
And what do I do now? And what do I do now? And what do I do now? So especially when that's probably a good point, especially when you are using tools, I think it's even far more important that you understand what you're doing, but you're self-evaluating every day. So every day, like you're talking about how you just like think about all stuff all the time. Think about this fucking dog. Jesus. Like all the time. And I'm planning my next move. But the only way that I can do that is by watching her. I have to observe her and spend time with her. And so I do that every day for at least a couple of hours every day. Because, I'm a therapy supervisor around the livestock, blah, blah, blah. Our training's just gone back a bit because we have got the addition of the baby goats and the baby chickens. So, and the goats can get out of the fence. So I don't want. Anyway, so she's lost some of her privileges, gone because she was like unsupervised. Like she'd gotten to the point where she was like largely unsupervised. And then now that's gone. So that's a big adjustment for her. But I have to do that to prevent her from getting into situations. She's not ready. She's not mentally, emotionally capable of having the responsibility completely by herself with these babies yet. Yeah. So every day I observe her and I go back to, and the e-collar is so much easier than using a lead. So once you put all this work in to get your e-collar set up, train your dog, what it means and blah, blah, blah. And it's amazing. Like, and I've got my e-collar perfectly set up. Like it's got a special collar thingy. It's easy to put on. I've got the comfort wing thing. Like I've got no contact issues. It's all like, I love it. It's just great. And it means that she can have so much more. I give her so much more independent decision-making because I don't have to be standing right next to her. And I think I said this to you the other day, but I'm less likely to reflex on the lead. Because when you're dealing with a big, big, big dog with baby animals, it's normal to be like, oh God. And like
you're trying to steal some mechanical advantage.
Yeah. But I overreact and would tug that lead before my brain wanted me to, if that makes sense.
Yeah, totally.
The e-collar's
because
not like
once
that.
she fires
It's a
up,
reflex.
but you also know you can't stop her mid-go.
No.
So you're then like, oh, well, I need to, like, as she's spooling, I need to stop then because if it's too late, I can't. But like the electrics can,
Yes.
when it's implemented correctly.
It can. I absolutely, that's a really good point too. The times when I've had to been trying to hold her back when she's going for something, it is very hard and it's dangerous for me as well. It hasn't been dangerous for me, but it could very much become dangerous for me very quickly. The electrics, you don't have to do, it's all good. Like you don't have any of that. So even just today going, but I've got my electrics on. Oh, but I'm going to go back to my lead, even though I put all this work in to get my lead off, to just be able to walk around with my remote in my pocket. But that's not the right tool for right now. I need to go back to this other tool and go back to, so she was tied up all the time, like heaps when she was young. I just had rope tied everywhere, like on all different fences, posts and stuff. And you just take her and tie her up to each different tetherer to stuff. I'm like, oh, I need to go back to tethering because I want her to habituate. What did I call? Satiate. That's the word that I was thinking of that we talked about last week. Because I've been thinking about that because I went to that workshop and we're thinking about satiating the dogs. And I was like, oh, do you know what is happening for her, my livestock guardian dog as well? Because I've removed all of her privileges, I haven't given her an opportunity to get bored with these animals. So when I take her out of her, wherever she is, in her pen or wherever, and I take her out and we go and do, time around the animals, feed them, whatever, there's novelty every time and often for the whole time that she's around them because I'm not leaving her out there for 24 hours where she would get bored of it.
You came to that conclusion from going to the Michael Ellis seminar, watching sport dog stuff.
I know. And talking to you because I was then, so for everybody else that wasn't a part of mine or Pat's earlier previous private conversations. Sorry, guys. I went to the Michael Ellis thing. Michael Ellis was talking about something else. I don't even remember. And then I took away from it, like dogs being satiated. And then I was like, oh, I wonder if we're like satiating. Why can't I say that today? Our therapy dog's social drive. Because one of the complaints that we get about the dogs, this is not just me, this is all like a lot of teams, is that the dogs aren't as engaging. Like they get
as you want them to be.
As we want them to be, especially throughout the day, because our dogs don't work for 45 minutes. They work for 8-hour days sometimes. So throughout the day, and especially as they get older. So the younger dogs, they are definitely more engaging throughout the day. But then as they get older, like Nala's 6 now, and I can see that she's lost some of that even just from maturing. And I was like, what if we might need to consider that our dog's social drive is completely satiated at X point. And that's why we're not getting a normally very socially driven dog, Nala. I'm not getting that each session for a whole day at the clinic. Okay, so now I need to think about what do I do about that? Like, what's the answer? And I don't know yet.
More dogs.
I just think it might be more dogs.
It's always more dogs.
It's probably more dogs. Yeah. Or
chickens.
Less work.
Yeah, either one. Yeah.
More dogs and less work.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you get more dogs, you have less time.
My chickens are all therapy chickens. So if the ATL is listening to this, everything here.
Yeah, everything is a therapy chicken.
It's my therapy tractor. So, if we're satiating, if the dog's social drive has been satiated, so what does satiated mean, Pat?
Full. The tank is full. I've got as much as I want. I want no more.
Like a battery that's been charged. It's charged. You can't charge it anymore. It's fully charged.
Yeah.
So if the dog's social drive is what Pat, you like to work with certain type of dogs that, like to do cool stuff and like respond well to you and your training and stuff like that. We're the same. I want to work with social drive dogs. So if the dog doesn't have a social drive, I don't need to be introduced to that dog. Thank you. Like I don't.
Yeah. Well, dogs that don't have a strong social drive are like
Dingoes.
notoriously, they're notoriously transactional in their training.
Yeah.
Right. So the lower the social drive, the more transactional that dog is, and that it's just like, yeah, mate, I'll do it because you are paying me for the thing, not because I want to do it or because you want me to do it. And that's something that, like I thought that was bullshit for a long time. There was a version of me I could introduce you 2 years ago that was like, dogs don't love you, mate. Like they love you, but they're not trying to see through your intent. Right. Like, but now I'm more convinced than ever that if your relationship is correct with the dog and the dog is the right kind of dog.
If you're on the same vibration.
Yeah, exactly. And I've just observed it too many times where the dog's like, I see what you want here. Like I will do this because I know it's what you are trying to get me to do, not because I want to do it, but because it's what I do. And that especially with punishment. It's one of the things why, like, it's very rare that I would ever encourage anyone to like do that sort of hands off or what people would refer to of like the act of God punishment. I don't I think now I want the dog to be like, no, it was me. I did that to you because I don't want you to do that. And if the relationship is correct, then I have observed plenty of times where the dog's like, I could easily get away with it. No one could stop me. I'm in a position to do it, but I know you don't want me to, so I won't do that. And I promise you, there's a version of me that was like, oh, bullshit. That's not how dogs work. But I've just seen it too many times now to argue with that.
Yeah. I don't know where Kiki falls on that spectrum.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, right? Like,
she loves me though.
Yeah. But to what degree does she think you know better than her about what animals get what?
Well, and
how they get treated?
She's also supposed to know better than me.
And so that's the trick, right?
This is the thing. Yeah. Yeah, it's like her ancestors are telling her that I'm a fucking idiot. So how dare they?
Yeah.
That's embarrassing.
I love that saying. That's my favorite. Rather than, genetics, I love saying, well, your ancestors say so.
Yeah, me too. I feel like it's got more meaning. It's
totally.
It's multi-meaning-ish. Okay, so yes, so I heard Michael Ellis say something about satiating something. I don't know if I've told you, but I can't remember I can't remember now. All I care about is what I'm thinking about in my own head about my own life. So I forgot what he said. Sorry, Michael Ellis. I'm sure it was.
Well, you took the part that was relevant to you.
I wrote it down so I could find it. Yeah, so then I was like, oh, but the therapy dog, satiating, what are we going to do about that? Don't have the answer to that yet. Still thinking about that. Then... yeah, exactly. Extended to, but what about my livestock guardian dog? Do you think Michael Ellis was talking about therapy dogs or livestock guardian dogs? No, he certainly fucking wasn't. Absolutely not. But that's what I'm thinking about because that's my life and those are my dogs. So he's talking about Malinois, whatever. And I'm like, yes, very good, dog. And then I'm thinking, what about me? But what about me and my dogs? Yeah. And I would love to extend that into, so where does that come from? Because I'm thinking about my dogs all the time and I'm thinking about other people's dogs all the time and observing, evaluating and aiming for a goal. So if we're trying to improve our critical thinking skills, one of the things I think is very important is to have a very clear question in your mind that you're trying to answer. Sometimes people will start talking to me, like in the courses and stuff, and they just start talking and then they stop with that, like, you know how tone goes up at the end when it's a question?
Yeah.
And I'm like, what is happening? Like, because there was no question. It's like 3 statements and then and I'm like, and then everyone's looking at me and I'm like, just mute and turn my camera off. I'm just like, I don't see you. I don't know what's happening. But I have to go back and be like, what's the question? What's the question? What is the question? And I look like an idiot. But really, there's no question here.
Yeah.
Do you get that sometimes?
Yeah, I get that.
Do I do that?
No.
I don't.
You're doing it right now.
Damn it.
No, but for sure. And I think that, like, that's the crux of dog training, in my opinion, is to ask those questions, right? You have to have a framework, or to answer those questions has to be a framework. And that framework is operant conditioning, classical conditioning, and all the crazy shit that goes along with that, right? Like these are not simple topics, but really understanding those as a framework and ethology, putting those together. Like, I understand what a dog is. I know how to read a dog. I can understand, dogs do things just for the sake of it sometimes. They learn in patterns. They're the masters at finding patterns, and they can sequence things together. And also they learn the consequences of their actions, right? And they're putting that together. When you have that as your framework by which you will filter all questions through, you can answer any questions about dogs, or you can at least then get yourself in a position to be able to experiment to find out concrete answers. Like, you can hypothesize.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, I think, and certainly I was guilty of this. I can remember going into my first ever paying customer, and they were paying a lot, right? And it was my first time where I was like, this is it. Like, these people don't know that this is my first real gig, right? I've been training dogs at that point, I think I'd been training dogs for 5 years. I trained a lot of fucking dogs, military dogs, my own dogs, and I'd been training people's dogs in the neighborhood for free for years. But this was where I'd gotten out and I was like, okay, I'm doing this. And I can remember sitting in my van out the front thinking, holy fuck, I hope I know how to fix this problem, right? Like, I hope. And do you know what it was? It was a cavoodle that ran out the door and onto the street every chance it got, right? Because it just wanted to go down the street, so it just would run out the door. And I remember, like, thinking, fuck, I have never had one of these before, right? Like, I hadn't had that exact problem before. And then having that moment of like, uh-oh, like, I don't know how to fix this. And then going like, you do? I can't understand. Like, I've never seen this cavoodle run out of this house and onto this street, but I've had plenty of impulse control problems, right? And that's actually all that I'm seeing here. Yeah. So I need to then go, okay, why is he doing it? How can I alter that behavior? How can I show it in his interest not to do that? How do I teach it to these people? It's super easy. This is the easiest couple of hours of my life, right? Because there's a framework and I can look at it and go, oh, okay, yeah, I can figure this out. But I still remember sitting there. It was actually one of those like, oh fuck, I hope I don't embarrass her. And they were like, it was a big house. They're in Vaucluse. And I remember thinking, don't fuck this up. This is important.
It's like that in psychology as well. And also Brumby camps. So when we do Brumby camps. So I don't know. We haven't really talked about that, but it's like 10 or so wild horses and 10 people, and we spend 10 days, 10. We spend 10, 11 days teaching people how to gentle their wild horse. So they choose a horse at the beginning, and then they're in these like yards, and we run them into a round yard and do sessions, try to pat a wild horse, get a halter on it, and then train it to go home on a float on day 11.
Cool.
So it's from, untouched to, some of them have a first ride. So some of them get ridden before day 11 as well. And always, so I only do like it's so Anna, the Brumby Project, we used to do 2 a year. And she's done 1 this year. She had a baby. And every camp when I get there, because I'm like, yay, Brumby camp, like, yay. And then I get there and I'm like, fuck, I don't remember how to train Brumbies. I'm going to die in these yards in front of everybody looking like an idiot because I can't remember what I'm supposed to do. I have that moment and I'm like, oh my God, because my Brumbies were all broke in. Like that was
Years ago.
my last wild one was like 2.5 years ago. So I haven't had a wild horse at my house for 2.5 years or however long it's been. So then I get there and then, yeah, you get in, the horse comes into the yard, you get in the yard and it's all your muscle memory comes back. And then another thing, so much Pat Stuart stuff comes out of my mouth. And I sound so smart applying and for those who don't know, I have a psychology degree. So I did actually learn behavior stuff at uni. Like I've had all that taught to me. I use it in my work all the time, talking about it all the time. But there's a difference between how like that clinic, that can be so dry too. Like it's not that interesting. But then, yeah, doing your course and your content, I've used that language everywhere all the time. And especially Brumby Camp as well, because we're using really similar stuff. Like it's it's remarkably similar, really, like working with the wild horse. So, because learning vary. So I would like to encourage people to have a bit of a look at your online stuff. So
I'd love that. That'd be great.
I've already sent everybody. You should have a heap of people listening have already been on your website doing the box feeding video.
Perfect.
Looking at the box feeding video. Made them all do that. So there's 2 options. 2 options or 3 options? You got the wave tops and then...
Nah, I don't sell the wave tops anymore. So the way it works at the moment is you can jump into there's a free section. So if you jump on my website, seriousdogbusiness.com, you can't miss it. There's ways to sign up to everything there. You can get into, there's this free section. The free section it's a bunch of stuff that I just kind of feel like shouldn't be behind a paywall, right? Like it's not the kind of thing that I would just put on YouTube and it just exists out there because it's dog trainer stuff. It's not that the public are interested in. This is if you really want to take dog training seriously. So, and then the other purpose of the free section is that you kind of get to know me a bit, right? Like this is where I sort of show, hey, this is who I am. This is how I teach. If you're into that, you can go into the paid sections. And there's a puppy raising course. That's separate because I have a partner in that, Jazz, who I work with. So we did that together. So there's the puppy raising course, which is actually huge. It's 9 different modules, 3 videos per module explaining how to live with a high drive dog. And so it's not just puppies, even though we call it it's how to raise a puppy. But the reality is if you've got an adult dog and you want to change the way they live, you just treat them like they're a puppy and change everything. So you can buy that separately. Or then there's the main course. So like I said before, it's literally called Everything Pat Knows because I can't think of a better name. And there's all these like the 5-pillar system and all these cool things. I'm just like, nah, look, hey, this is everything I know. And if I learn anything else, I'll put it in here. That's what it is.
Love that.
And it's got the puppy raising course in it because that's stuff that I know, but it's a lot more expensive, right? So like it's this big, giant, buy it once, have it forever, constantly updated portal. Or you can just jump into the puppy thing, which is exceptional, but you get access to that if you buy the whole big thing. But yeah, feel free. People should jump into that free section. It takes 2 seconds, make a login, and you'll get marketed. You'll get an email from me of me saying, hey, have you thought about this? A little robot version of me will harass you until you say, no, I'm not buying it, or you buy it.
Unsubscribe me from this harassment.
Yeah, exactly. But it's all automated, so you can unsubscribe and you will be unsubscribed.
We do that. But you are not authorized to unsubscribe. Listeners, thank you very much.
Look, I'm really proud of it. Like I'm not much of a salesman of my own stuff, that's for sure, but I'm really proud of it. And probably, I mean, this is an interesting conversation for the psychologist, but calling something like so tightly aligning to my own product makes it a very difficult thing to then sell. And that it's my whole personality. You can buy it. If you don't, you don't like me? Do you not like me? So yeah, there's that. That's that problem. But yeah, I'm very, very proud of it. It's an exceptional base of knowledge upon which you can build just about anything.
That's an excellent way to describe it. I love it. So people that don't know, I've done Pat's boot camps, which is this 5-day camp thing where you take your dog. And I took Nala the first time I went, which was fun. And then the second time I took Kiki to buy a van and slept in the van with Kiki. And it was amazing. And then and so Pat does like a seminar, and then so it's like 2 days, and then the 5-day boot camp. So it's like 7 days. So I've had a lot of experience with Pat's content and applied it to my different dogs. So like I couldn't even tell you, like, out of taking Nala, the therapy dog Labrador, 6 years old, to boot camp, or taking Kiki, the LGD that was, I think, 12 months-ish old, just over 12 months, to boot camp, I couldn't even tell you like which one did I get more out of, because I'm there to get everything I can out of it for future me and present me, and for this dog and the next dog. And I think if you go into it with that kind of attitude, the content's super, the relatability score is high, I feel, where it's specific enough, like it's because it's for dogs that you train. So it's for dogs that's what you know how you have in mind. What's who you are, like that working dog kind of.
But I tried to, like, it's about, really all the content that I make is about, hey, this is how a dog thinks and feels, and how you can ethically manipulate those things. And when a dog thinks and feels in a particular way, it will then act in a particular way. So I don't get too bogged down in behaviors. Like, like as you were saying right at the start when we started talking, there's no video of like, this is how you teach a sit. There's a fucking 100 ways you can teach a sit. It doesn't like, and all of them are as good as the other, depending on why you would choose one. But when you understand how a dog thinks and then how a dog feels, then when you know how to manipulate, how to make them think and feel particular things, they will do the things that you want them to do. And I think overwhelmingly, what we ask of dogs is exactly what Mother Nature had in mind for them anyway. So if you can just make them think, hey, this is going well for you, then they will do more of that, right? And like very rarely are people asking something crazy of dogs. Mostly we're asking, because if you've got the right breed, you've got the right bloodline, it's got the right temperament, it is by its own choice likely to want to do the very things that we're asking it to do. You just need to know how to put it in the right mindset that makes it then go, I make that choice for myself. And that's what I try and convey to people through many, many, many hours of content. Yeah.
Another good point. It doesn't have sit, dog, sit. It's not that kind of course.
Yes, it's not that.
It's not that. It's really aimed for, it's for the deeper level of understanding. So it's like, okay, I like dogs. I've got the dog. You know, you've seen other stuff, you know, at your dog club or through us or online or whatever. And you've started working with your dog, and then you're like, okay, no, I like this. That's who the course is for. It's for the person that wants to go to the next level of like,
yeah, for sure.
But
it's not an entry level. Yeah.
No.
It's not don't start there.
No.
You've got to be like, okay, I've decided this is my thing. Then it's your course, right?
Yeah.
If you're just like, oh, I'm looking for some help with my dog, in the free section, there's plenty of stuff like that. You can check that out. But the paid course is like, no, I have become obsessed with dog training and I want to get good at it.
The video lectures are super digestible, I feel, but it's hard for me to speak on behalf of everybody else. I think it's very digestible. I listen to it in the car. So I think it's possible to listen to it like that. I do that all the time.
Sure. I had that in mind. Like the video lectures, there's nothing, if you can't see the screen, it's no biggie.
It doesn't matter. Yeah, you can just listen to it. So I find that really digestible. But even though I've done the boot camps and spent a lot of time talking to you about other stuff, I still got stuff out of the course. And I liked, like, okay, I know that. Like, yep, got it. I know that. That repetition and things being explained in different ways as well really helps to, like you were saying about Bart again, when you might hear something explained once, one way, but then your brain accidentally takes away from that, like it's a rule in that way. But if you hear the same concept explained again, and it's kind of meaning the same thing, but nuanced, that really helps your brain with that flexibility of like, okay, because I can have knowledge and I can apply knowledge. And those are different things. There's sometimes that little bit of a disconnect in you know, we see it in our field. It's that the scientist practitioner model. Like we can have the academics, we can have the science, we have to apply it. And so the clinicians are having to take that science and try and make it fit to a real life person who's sitting in your room with you, telling you XYZ about their life. When a human being comes and sits and tells me XYZ about their life, I can't be like, oh, this is exactly the same as Sally, who was here last week. Exact same life. Like, no. So that doesn't happen. We can have like our overall general learnings about humans, our overall general learnings about this specific illness or disorder, whatever it might be that's presenting, or our overall understanding of trauma and how trauma affects the brain and the body and blah, blah, blah. We can have those understandings of things, but no one can be you, client, who sits across the room, and I can't know everything for you. So we have to work together, and my job is to try and really understand you, basically. But you can apply that skill set to your dog and be like, okay, so we've got all this general information, we've got all this science, we've got all this information, we've got anecdotal evidence, we've got all this, previous life experience, like we've got all this stuff and all these ideas and all this information, all this knowledge. Now I need to apply it. So I think your course covers a huge amount of this is the knowledge, this is what the knowledge really is. Especially any dog trainers that are listening as well, because I know some of our dog trainers listen. You have to do it. You just have to do.
Thank you, Sam. I appreciate all this. This is amazing. I appreciate it.
I will never speak to you again until you've done it.
Okay. Perfect place to end.
Everyone's like, okay. Highly recommend for dog trainers. But yeah, people that are really want to get into this stuff and go to the next level, I think you should seriously consider. If you're thinking about spending money on something, I think you should consider it. Otherwise, go into the free stuff section. It's great. Get in there, have a look at all that stuff. The High Drive Puppy course, I think, is very good as well. It's excellent. And there's lots of things to take away from that for our context as well.
Yeah.
Even though our dogs aren't as high drive normally as the dogs that you're working with.
Yeah, look, we called it the High Drive Puppy because that's what we're experienced with. But in truth is it's raising a puppy. Yeah. Like it's not for the average pet Jono raising a puppy. But if you want a cool dog you can do cool things with, but also is your pet, it's going to teach you exactly how to do that. It's not going to teach you how to do the cool things. It's going to teach you how to keep all the drive intact and prepare the dog to do the cool things and still be your pet and not fuck up your whole life.
The people who I think that's for us most is everyone who's organizing their next dog. So if you're already working with your dog and you're going to get your next one, so you're doing your succession planning, I think that's the right client for that course personally.
Yeah, for sure.
If you're getting your first dog, I think just keep it simple. Like, do it if you want, but try and keep it simple because you're going to already be completely overwhelmed with everything that's going on. So it's your first pancake, we'll help you, but you're not going to get it.
It's not going to be perfect.
It's not going to be perfect. There's a lot to learn in this very short time that you've got this young dog. So that's okay. But everyone who's already working with their adult dog, you've got time. Like, what you're aiming for. I think that makes a big difference as well. If you're already working with the dog on the job, you know what the goalposts are. I find people with their first puppy, it's a lot of me like, calm down. Like, because they're not 100% sure what this picture looks like what are we even aiming for over here? So I think that's, Anyway, we got to go, but...
Thank you for having me. It's been fun.
Thanks for chatting with us, Pat. Very appreciative to have you on
Pleasure.
the podcast.
Thank you for having me very much. Thank you for the huge talk up. I appreciate that.
Well, it's just an average Monday for me. So being as annoying as possible.
All right. Well, thank you.
All right. Have a good day.
See ya.
Thanks for listening to the podcast. If you're interested in studying with us, but you have a few more questions before you get started, please get in touch with us by emailing info@therapydog.com.au or visiting our website, www.therapydog.com.au, for more information and our FAQs.